you?
Okay, but check the day. Okay. Morning. Nice to see you.
How are you?
Good.
How are you, sir? I'm on it. Yes. Let's get started. We need to start. I sent a message saying is 20% of your overall grade, and you're going to be assessed on the accuracy and clarity. Well, the topic we know is up there. Should the Bahamas become a republic? And if so, why? If not, why not? And we want you to discuss what type of republic we should become if we decide to become a republic. Right? So I want good, clear arguments. You will be getting, it's 20% of your overall grade, 5 points for your accuracy and clarity in your presentation, 5 points for the relevance of the information that you present to the Bahamas. I've had groups in the past tell me all about the United States and republicanism, et cetera, not mentioning us. It is about the Bahamas. So you get 5 points for making it relevant to the Bahamas. 5 points for understanding what is a republic, giving clear examples of how it works. If you can use republics in this region, as I mentioned, even better. And of course, your creativity, 5 points. So that's your 20 points right there, each group. And we're starting with group 5, and they have gone ahead and set up. So I will turn over to group 5, and we listen. Right? Thank you so much. You may begin group 5.
Good morning to all. My name is Natika Sherelle Josie Taylor, student number 031439.
You have to project so they
Oh,
can
I'm
hear you.
sorry. My name is Natika Sherelle Josie Taylor, student number 031439. Here to introduce the members of group 5. Everybody knows Smitty, Stewart, Royal, Williams, Wallace, Woodside, Fixed, Woodside. Let me be the first to vote for boosters for people who 5 for 2 and have to use the podium at the College of the Bahamas. As we all know, the topic is should the Bahamas become a republic? And standing on protocol, let us put our hands together and welcome the former Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Hubert Minnis. Member of Parliament for Foxville constituency, Mr. Fred Mitchell. Because group 5 is 2 big things. So we're gonna allow them to speak as they can see. They have a lot on their schedule, but they took out a few minutes. And I thank you so much because both of you, although we Bahamians and we run on Bahamian time, both of you were very early and present. So we'll give you an opportunity to speak so that we don't take up the rest. I know politicians, you have, especially on Saturday, you have funerals, things to attend and all sorts of things.
I've been fired, so I have a lot of time.
All right, we'll allow you to speak. You can go. All right, Mr.
Thank you for inviting me to speak here today. And I understand the topic about republic, but in order for you to reach that stage, it is essential for you to understand the importance of voting. And it's important for you to vote, and therefore I will address you this morning about the importance of voting, especially what had just recently occurred here in our by-election. It is reported that only about 49% of the registered voters in this country have voted in the last by-election just recently here a couple of weeks ago. And that number is significantly low. And the decision to vote in the Bahamas is optional. It's mandatory in some countries like Australia. If you don't vote, then that's jail term. But in the Bahamas and many other countries, most other countries, it's optional. This is not the case in some of the other democratic countries, as I've mentioned. Australia is a perfect example. The men and women who are legislators and members of the cabinet have tremendous powers, and the legislators make laws that govern the people. So those legislators would make the laws that govern all of us. They decide on how the government's money is spent. They would decide on matters of taxation, numerous other matters that affects us day to day. And some of the elected members of the majority party become members of cabinet. They lead the government as the executive branch. And the Bahamas is a democracy. This means that these officials who have the power get the power from the votes of you. So you determine who is the government, and you determine who makes that decision. So the power lies with you, the people, not the politicians. This power is only temporarily given to the legislators and the government. A party with the majority of seats in the House of Assembly can govern for a maximum of 5 years. However, they may call election earlier, and that may be extended or it may be shortened, as in my case. It is the people who rule in our system, you. We need large samples of the electoral to participate so that a true representation of the people will is expressed through the election. As you can see, awesome responsibility is placed on the voters in our democracy. It is critical that the people still stay engaged in the political process throughout the term. This engagement with the affairs of governance is a day-to-day responsibility of each and every one of you. It requires citizens to read with regularity the daily newspapers, the relevance to your country, and listen to reputable media and broadcast. It also means that, especially in the young population like yourselves, it's important to follow social media. Social media will bring forth a lot of day-to-day issues, and that includes TikTok. From time to time, citizens, you should write letters to the newspapers or call into radio talk shows to join debates on civic matters. Active participation requires citizens from time to time to go down to town hall meetings regarding issues in their communities. An active participation requires citizens from time to time to attend protests when they see a problem that is not being addressed and the voices of the people need to be noted, need to be heard. Active participation requires citizens to contact or go and see their members of parliament when something is wrong in their given constituency. So you can see that voting is critical. But so is staying engaged and involved during the term. Politicians in democracies hear and listen to the voices of the people. When the people show in numbers that they have a desired policy they want enacted or an issue addressed, politicians are likely to focus on that issue. So this clearly demonstrates that the power lies with you. The power don't lie with us. There is a cynical sentiment you hear sometimes that is untrue and extremely dangerous. Some say both political parties are all the same, or all politicians are the same. So it doesn't matter whether I vote or I don't. That is not true. At elections, people have various choices in their constituencies. They usually have the two major parties, plus small parties and independents. A ballot in the Bahamas could easily have 6 or 7 individuals on it. And each of these people represent a different way of doing things. It is the responsibility of the responsible voter, you, the responsible voter, to assess these people, to determine who would be the best person to represent the interests of your community. There are no perfect candidates. However, through a rational analysis, each of us could pick the person we think is best for our area. As I've laid out, once that person is elected in Parliament, elected for Parliament by a majority of voters, the voters' responsibility does not end there. We must keep pressure. We must keep pressure on these people throughout the term to act in the people's best interests. It is important that we reject the cynicism that says it doesn't matter if you vote or you don't vote. It is critical that you do vote, and it is critical that you stay engaged in civic matters. For some of you, you are very engaged. You will decide that you want to offer yourselves as candidates for election at some point in time. And this is a good thing. Remember, in doing so, that if elected, you will serve the people. You are not there to serve yourself. You are there to elect, represent the people, and do what the people is asking or have requested. Your job is to represent their interests in Parliament and to address their concerns in their respective communities. As an elected member, you must consult with the people with regularity. You must stay abreast of current affairs. A healthy democracy has high voter turnout, high voter engagement, and a broad cross-section of individuals who offer themselves as candidates. In other words, the future of our country depends on you, depends on who you vote for, and you have that determination if they are not doing what you are requesting or you set them to do. You have the power to demonstrate, and believe me, politicians will listen. The course will turn. Your wishes will come true. The power rests in your hands. It does not rest in my hand. It does not rest in Fred's hand. So I ask that you come out whenever the need is there. You come out and cast your vote. I've always said to my kids that yes, I may be your father, I may be the prime minister, but man has an innateness about them that you do not want to leave. That's innateness. That's what each and every one of you do not want to leave. But it's their responsibility that if I am going wrong and doing the wrong thing, though they are my kids, they have a responsibility to protect their country, which comes before their father. And it is their job and their responsibility to vote me out if I am doing wrong. That's the power you have, and that's what we should teach each and every one of our kids, that you cannot look at personalities. The country must always come first. And even if your parents are going rogue, in the interest of your country, in the interest of your kids, it is essential for you to move your parents. Thank you.
It's a very powerful speech. We tried to invite Mr. Donald Trump as well, but his team said he was busy.
He's very good.
Yes. So,
I was speaking to him this morning, but he's okay.
if you wouldn't mind, if the class could get a quick photo.
Sure.
With Ms. Curry. Let me go outside.
Sorry for you, but your mother did when she
They're taking photos. Unlike these young people, I can only hold my belly
Thank you so much.
Politics and rooted in our own national character. It's a simple but powerful shift, moving from a monarchy we inherited to a republic we chose. For those of us who support this transition, it's not about changing how we are governed. It's about changing who we are represented by. It's about completing our independence in a way that reflects, again, our maturity, our identity, and our pride as Bahamians.
And symbolism also matters. When children walk into a school, the portrait on the wall should be of someone who represents them.
Okay, so another question here. Is there a risk that changing the head of state could cause political instability or confusion?
Any major constitutional change has the potential to create confusion, especially if people don't fully understand what's changing. Transitioning to a republic means adjusting legal frameworks, rewriting certain parts of the Constitution, and educating the public about how the new system works. If that process isn't handled carefully and transparently, it can create instability or at least uncertainty. We've seen in other countries that the transition itself isn't the problem. It's a lack of public education and preparation. So while the risk is real, it is not inevitable. It depends entirely on how organized, clear, and unified the country is going into the transition.
Okay, guys, let me have a caller. Hi, good morning.
Hi, girl. Long time listener, first time caller. So let me get this straight. We get our own head of state. We stay stable under the Constitution. Doesn't describe to and we
Have a good day. That's Jenny. Okay, thank you so much on all of your opinions. Well, you know, all good things must come to an end. This was really an interesting and hot topic. I want to say a special thank you to our guests and our audience for listening. Whether the issue to remain a monarchy or become a republic, once thing clear, the conversation is about identity, sovereignty, and the future we want. Join us next week on Politics Unplugged, where we ask, should Bahamian women have...
It takes them from who appointed them, and they'll now speak for the people, because now you have to come to the people to say, I need you to put me in here. Even our judges, our magistrates, whatever, all of them would be at the hands of the people. So now, when they get in, they forget who put them in, and they be loyal and do the agenda of the party of the day. Whereas we as the people, they forget where their boss is. So that's how we would look at it in the long run.
And then when you consider futuristically, of course, we know times are always changing, right? And so as the Bahamas and the world at large continue to transition, if we're given an opportunity to put our people in power and be able to say to them at each generational level, this is what we want, it is our belief that that is what is going or should happen or take place. Because for every generational move we have, if the people decide to put who's there, they will listen to the people decide. And if the people are ever changing, so will our government. Yes, sir.
That's a big one.
What about a US-style type republic where each island is pseudo-independent with their governor, collects their money, retains all their monies, so that they can develop and expand? Only a small percentage would go to the central government, which is here. But the central government has great responsibility over all. But it allows Auckland's to direct themselves moving forward. It allows Long Island, as opposed to having somebody in Nassau who don't know a damn thing but Auckland's or whatever and making decisions.
I feel
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, it is.
The islands, them, to me, would strive more, and it would allow persons who leave home to come to Nassau to get jobs, to get whatever, to be able to stay on their island and put into their island. It would be able to allow the island to expand and develop. Like certain islands, like I could be the devil's advocate too. Most people is talk about Exuma have the best waters. All my Exumans in here. For me, I thought that too until I was transferred to Cat Island, and I consider Cat Island the gem of the Bahamas, a hidden secret. And if the islanders were just allowed the funds and whatever, the freedom to develop their island with the backing of the government, but not saying we have to go to Nassau to get anything, I feel the islands would strive.
And in addition to that, and we agree with you, Mr. Minnis, because everything in Nassau is localized, right? All the major ministries are here. And so people now have to move or travel to come here for their services. But, and for me, I feel like that put us at a disadvantage. When you talk about time discrepancies, when you talk about persons' lack of funds and all of these, like you have to consider so much. Having a localized government on every island, it gives each 700 inhabited islands and keys an opportunity to manifest and to build their own infrastructure, not only focusing on Nassau, but it would develop. We like to say the Bahamas, and then when we say the Bahamas, we only consider Nassau. Nassau is not just the Bahamas. And so when we consider all of the other islands now, we really and truly creating a Bahamas for everybody, inclusive of everybody of all the islands. I'm sorry, I'm extremely passionate.
One more question. Final question, go on.
I have a question. I agree with the idea in theory, but I have a question. What about the funds? That's a great idea, but as we know now, the Bahamas' #1 economic driver is tourism. And if we were to divide the funds to each of the islands, where will the funds come from? Because I can't tell you the statistics. This is just a conjecture, of course. Where will we get the finances for each island to develop their infrastructure? That is my question.
And how will it be allocated?
Let's answer it like this.
We have an answer. We have an answer.
Let's answer it like this. You think in the past, this same question was not posed to New Providence as they were expanding and developing? Where's the money coming from for road infrastructure? Where's the money coming for electricity? Where's the money coming from for education and health? That was the same question. But you must still push forward. You would be surprised with the creativity of each given island if given the opportunity.
Yes, yeah.
Just as you young people today, if given the opportunity, you'd make us look like a joke in terms of taking the country to another stage. You are technologically driven. The older generation are not. We are still in analog era. You are in the digital era, and that's the future.
And And to elaborate on what Dr. Minnis said, in 2020, when COVID hit, the F&M did something that I didn't see no other party did. They took fees. If you wanted to open up your own business, home base, they took fees completely off of that. That give every Bahamian telling y'all do something. Just how you have regatta, you have all these other stuff on the islands, that money could then go into your island fund. You don't have to send that to Nassau. That go apart, just how you have local government, you create your own government with your own board, your own members. You get Bahamian people to invest back into the island. We get to tell our children, yes, you're going to get your degrees, but come back home and invest in the island. When we invest, we might think, well, there's only $1 a day. But when you sit down and you allow that dollar to add up, it adds up. So you have to invest and not say, oh, I have to sit down and wait on the government to do it. We are the government. We have to invest to make our island what it's supposed to be.
That's basically what I said with investing and stuff like that. If the Bahamas was to invest more in small businesses, we'd really strive, because that's more money going into the economy and the government and stuff like that. So if every small island was to, like you say, if the money gets spread out and every island gets their own funds, they could use that and they could invest that and create bigger funds, and they could use that money to develop their island.
Like Ms. Martin was saying, that the islands create their own funds now, right? So some people think that Nassau is the only place tourists come. People don't understand, like islands like Bimini, people come from Miami straight there, and they have homes there. So the islands are functioning now, but we can sprinkle a little more tourism, like shine the tourism light on those islands to say that these islands are inhabited and they can very much boost what we have going on already. That's just a little.
I would only conclude to your question by.
Thank you.
I only want to say before I leave.
One more point before you
That
leave.
you must remember that obstacles, you spoke about an obstacle. Obstacles are placed before you to make you better, to make you creative. Either you innovate and move forward, or you just stay by the wayside and die. That's all.